Welcome to Deep Thought, praying for money. Now, this is kind of a follow-up what I was talking about yesterday, because we all pray for money. Well, that and a sexy mate. But praying for money. Now, we've all done that. We've all prayed to get money, get a certain amount of money. It could be to pay a bill. It could be to pay for college. It could be to do whatever. One of the things with it is there has to be a realistic vehicle for you to get that money. It has to be a realistic vehicle for it. You got to be some type of opening for you to get it. You can pray for it all you want. You can do whatever ritual for it all you want. But there has to be a vehicle for you to get it, or to get the equivalent of money. I'm going to tell a story. Now, I've mentioned publicly that I attended St. Joseph's University in Philadelphia. Now, the first couple of years, they were all right. They paid for it. I had some grants and everything. But I remember going into my third year of school, I had... there was a little bit more money than was covered by my bills. And honestly, all I did, I didn't fret over it at all. I mean, y'all might not can tell, I don't promote anything. I'm a spiritual person. So I just prayed. I just said, you know what, I want to go to school, said the prayer, and I left it at that. Now, I knew I needed the extra money because I got a bill from the school, and it's at the time it was about $1,500. $1,500 I needed to come up with, and it was going into my junior year. I didn't worry about it. I ain't thinking anything. I don't even think I said anything to anybody. I didn't panic, anything like that. I got another letter about a week later after I said the prayer. What happened was I looked at it again. I'm like, why are they sending me a second letter? All of a sudden, that bill was covered. I had been given a scholarship to cover the rest of that money. I was like, wow. Now, that worked. And that goes into what I did yesterday, is because of the work I did as a sophomore. See, I was partying too much as a freshman, and it was just, I couldn't even transfer. I was trying to transfer. I couldn't even have the grades to transfer, but enough to come back. And then I really worked hard my sophomore year, and, I was getting some great grades. And because of the improvement from freshman to sophomore year, a woman who was working there, she was in charge of, the Black Culture Office there. It's been a while. I forgot what the official name was, but she handled the affairs for black people on the campus. She had made sure I got a scholarship because I qualified for it. And it was all I had to do was just maintain at least a B average. Very easy for me. And I thought about that. Now, what does that have to do with this? Okay, so I said the prayer for some money. It was a realistic vehicle for me to get it because I was already in the school and I had already did the work. Now, I wasn't sitting there thinking, oh, okay, somebody just going to give me $1,500 or something. Which I found with a lot of people, when they say a lot of money, they usually thinking that, or they get caught up into maybe trying to get some crazy loan or something like that. Nah, it don't work that way. And, I thought about that. I thought about another situation where someone I knew wanted to get $4,000. They didn't need it for anything in particular, but it was kind of like they wanted to, test out some spiritual stuff. And, the person who said it, I remember this woman, and she said to the person who wanted the money, well, do you have a vehicle to actually get $4,000? Because her thing was, okay, you can want it, but you probably ain't gonna win the lottery for it. Somebody ain't gonna give it to you. Are you doing something that's worth $4,000? And the answer was no. So though this person had paid, the first woman had prayed and she wanted that 4,000, she didn't get it. Why? She didn't have a vehicle for it. See, if you're gonna pray for something, in this case money, you gotta have some way to actually do it. You can't ask for 6 figures or something, but your education, your skill level only qualifies you for minimum wage. And you can't, praying to win the lottery, well, shoot. That's that's millions of people trying to coerce God into giving them money. It don't work that way. So whether you're praying for money, whether you're praying for a mate, whether you're praying for that nice house, whether you're praying for a new washer and dryer, it has to be some type of vehicle in place for you to get it. When I mean by vehicle, some ways that will come. However you choose to call deity has to work through what's here. You're not going to have that, you might want that Mercedes, but it's not going to float down from the sky and just pop up. If you want it, then you probably, you praying and everything. You probably have to pray. You probably need to be praying probably for a job to pay for that Mercedes and to maintain that Mercedes. And you might have to pray for a new house to have a place where the Mercedes won't get scratched up if you're in the hood. But it still has to be realistic. See, when you tapping into prayer, when you tapping into that spiritual power, you still have to work with the tools you have here. You got to work with what you have here. You might pray for that money, and it goes back to what I said about doing the work, but you still got to go out and look for a job. You still got to take the action. So when you want that money, or you want, and sometimes it could do something. You might say, well, I want my child to go to this school. And, your school district is like, nah, we ain't going to make it happen. Or it could be a private school. So you say the prayer. Well, the vehicle for your child to get to that school might be, they might have some scholarships. They might have some people for grants, but, you got to find a vehicle for it to come through. It might be you getting a better job or something opening up, but you have to have the vehicle. See, understand something. What you have with a lot of people is magical thinking. They think you actually think some people there are actually some people who think they're going to get some magic that's going to happen. They're going to say a prayer, and trust me, in my life, I've heard some doozies. I'm going to kind of get into that in the next one. But you still got to have a way to do it. I think about this story. I don't know, I might have said it on here a long time ago, but it always struck me. There was a flood, and a priest was on top of a house. It was one of those that bad, and the water was rising. So the priest, he prayed. He said, God, please save me from this flood. And a boat came by and, said, hey, get in. And the priest was like, no, God is going to save me. All right. Water kept getting higher. Another boat came by. And he was like, hey, you can get in. He said, no, God is going to save me. Then a third boat. And, he did the same thing. No, God's going to save me. That water swallowed him up. He drowned. He got to heaven. He said, God, I prayed for you to save me. And God looked at him and said, I sent 3 boats. So remember, regardless of your faith, you still got to deal with a vehicle that's coming through life. Understand that. Deity works through people. God is for some of you. you know, however you use the term, works through people, works through what's here, the materials. So always remember that. That's all I have for today. I'll talk to you later. Peace and blessings.